My brothers and sisters from this area and all protocol observed, Honorable QS Adnan Saib, the Principal Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Please, pardon me if I wrongly pronounce some names. I'm not very, habituated with the names, so I may be excused for that. Madam President, Florence, and Mr. Okoth, the National Director of the associating organization who was helping us to be here. And I should mention Mr. Muniania, my old friend, and George Arabu, who is the Vice President now. Probably I am here today because of his intervention. Because, we had to work together in UIA in the Habitat work group in the last year. I'm really very honored to be here in this morning, and thank you so much for inviting us to share a few thoughts. I'm here, I'm bringing the good ways from UIA, my president, and the entire Council of International Union of Architects. And we hope that it will be a very, very successful program, and we can take back something which is new from this conversation. Today is 15th August. And we observe this day, we Indians, as the Independence Day of the Republic of India. It is the 78th Independence Day, and 77 years back on this day, we broke free from the shackles of the colonial rule. And my friend from Kenya who are here, you have also experienced the same in the month of December in my birth year, 1964. So Indian Independence Day greetings to you all. And I hope that everyone who are here today, at least we should take our oath on this auspicious day, that we should work relentlessly in whatever capacity we are for the social housing or the affordable housing for the entire world. Yeah, today, I am going to talk on something which I have tried to mention as beyond brick and mortar. We architects are always busy with brick and mortar and with the design, but here I think I will talk something else. It's not building, but for architects it's always better and very easy to explain their work or any design, but it's a bit dry subject, but very interesting subject. So I have named like the beyond brick and mortars and the government's facilitative role in social housing, which is very important. So you are here, so I think, I will give some examples what Indian government has taken, and it's a very interesting model which is the government of India is performing for the last so many years, and we are achieving for the social housing target every year. Home is home, even for those who aspire to serve wider interest and who have established their home of choice in distant region. Dr. Mendel has said it many years back, but we architects now are thinking that, the home is home, but obviously it has to be very close to our workspace. That is for the net zero activities what we are targeting to achieve. By 2030, UN Habitat estimates that the 3 billion people, about 40% of the world's population, will need access to adequate housing. And this translates to 96,000 new affordable housing required every day. It's a mammoth task. And it's for the world, we have to achieve it. So how to do that? And I think, we can't do this thing without the help of each and every one in our profession, be it architect, be it engineer, be it quantity surveyor, and be it in the other professions. I think I should not detail about what is social housing, but I think in the present context, the social housing term is changing from social housing to affordable housing. Affordable housing is a relative term. Obviously, when it is affordable for the middle income group, it may not be affordable for the lower income group. But the affordable housing for the lower income group is very important. Every time we find that the people who are below the poverty line or who are lower middle income group, how do they have their housing, their home? And it's not possible for all the government to provide all the time. So then what is the solution? I think the challenges are the affordability, sustainability, and the scalability. And the proposed solutions, obviously the private-public partnership, PPP model, and the business model development. This is very, very important. If we can develop a business model, then all the business people or the common people who will be interested in this business, they will come, and as a product, as the fruit of that business, this affordable housing can come up and it can serve to the nation. And obviously, for that, the government support and the incentive-driven models are very, very important. So, you are here, so I think, the other things what we will be explaining after this, what Indian government has taken up, and those kind of things can be taken up here in Kenya and this part of the country as well. I will explain the certain things which are very common for India and the country Kenya. So be it the quality of life, be it the economy, sometimes it is culture, and the GDP. As well as the quality of life, if we see, I think the political stability-wise, it is, for India, it is 59 on the top, and Kenya is 48. The climate-wise, it is obviously better Kenya. And the cost of living is also neck to neck. In India, it is 49, and in Kenya, it is 57. The popularity is the same, 31 and 31. The economy, the average income in India is 2,540 USD, whereas the Kenya, it is 2,110 USD. Average temperature in India and Kenya is the same, almost. The annual population growth, fortunately, this is also very, very close to each other. The real GDP growth in India, it is 6.7%, and in Kenya, 4.9%. So index-wise, India is 52.9, and Kenya is 52.5. Maximum daily temperature, if you see, the two graphs are very, very close together. So I think the business model or the approach what government of India has taken, that may be taken in the government of Kenya with obviously certain changes which will be dependent on their acceptability. The next is obviously, I will talk upon some suggestive approaches for the affordable housings. The minimum volume of habitation, the provision of the basic amenities, the cost of the housing, and the location of the house. These are very broad-based things. I am not going into the details, as I am told that, I have to shorten the presentation a little bit if it is possible. But I think this is very much acceptable to each of us. And, I have shared this presentation to the organization also so that it can be shared to each one of us. The next is the Indian saga of various activities what government of India has taken from the inception. There are top two horizontal lines at the pre-reform period, which is starting from 1951 to 1961. There are various activities or the rules which has been changed the scenario in India. But the most important is in the year 1954, where the government of India has started the scheme for the low-income housing. And in the next pre-reform period, from 1970 to 1990, in the year 1985, Indira Awas Yojana, That means Indira Housing Scheme. Indira Gandhi is the past Prime Minister of India. So that was a turning point in government of India, in the Republic of India. And after that, in the post-reform period, in 2005, JNNURM, Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, which is meant for the urban poor mainly, that was another turning point. And after that, in 2007 to 2021, in 2015, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, that means the Prime Minister Housing Scheme, that was the turning point. In these years of formation, there are many, legendary architects. They had done many projects which were, talk of the city, talk of the country for so many years. And this example I will take, this was done by Pritzker winner architect, Mr. V.V. Doshi, whom we have lost just 2 years back. And the top two photographs are the photographs when it was done, it was constructed. And now the bottom two are the situation of those housings nowadays. If you see the slide on the bottom right, what is the relevance to the present day? The crisis of the horizontal and the vertical growth according to the present day needs, no parking facility. So maybe, 30 years back when it was constructed, then it was accepted, but now it has lost its relevance. The people are demolishing those and trying to, build up the high-rise structures out there. The another slide will talk about another project which was done by famous architect Charles Correa. It was in Mumbai. There were 550 houses, and it was also very talked about project and a very famous project which has got many international awards as well. And the same consequence, the relevance to the present day, is the crisis of horizontal and the vertical growth according to the present day needs. There is no parking. So you can see the situation, what is happening in the bottom slides. They are adding the structure. Sometimes the situation what may come after 30 years is not being thought of. So being an architect, I think we should have the responsibility to see what can happen after 20, 50 years. The next slide, we will try to show you the market in the affordable housing in India. It's really a growing market. And in 2030, we are trying to target the bottom right to achieve the housing target for India. I'm not going into the details of the other things. So here, how the government can play a very important role. I think they have to change their stand to become a provider rather than they should be the facilitator. And there are pull and push factors also, which is very important. I will go in details this slide. The pull factors first is the vast economies of the scale lead to significant lowering of the cost of development for the low-income housing. And the improvement in the infrastructural connectivity to far-flung location is increasing their acceptability as a residential destination. So the infrastructural development in the adjoining area is very important so that those lands can be blocked for the housing needs for the future. And the next is the emergence of the microfinance institution focusing on the low-income housing, and that has helped in improving buyers' access to the housing finance. Housing finance plays a very, very important role, and the policy the government will take for this, that changes the scenario in Government of India. And the push factors, these are very, very important. The slow urban development. Another point is the lengthy and the complex approval system. So for the social housing or the affordable housing, and if you can define in your country that these projects will be called social housing or the affordable housing. And for those, a different set of bylaws has to be there and different set of sanction procedure has to be there. Because in India, we are facing a problem, a sanction process that takes year after year to complete the sanction of a project, and that escalate the cost of the production of the housing. And the next is the lack of adequate funding sources. And obviously, how the incentives can promote this business model. The next slide, obviously, I will say a few words about the Government of India's 4 initiatives. It is in situ slum redevelopment, ISSR, the slum redevelopment using the land as per the resource with private participation, slum of central government and the state government or the ULB, that is been taken care of. And in rehabilitation, the grant of 1 lakh INR, that is 1192 USD, is been given from the government for each housing. The next is the CLSS, the Credit Linked Subsidy Scheme. And here the most important thing is the subsidy which has been given for the affordable housing, for those, the middle income group is also been taken care too. That means for the middle income group, the government is giving incentive to buy the affordable housings. The Affordable Housing Partnership, the AHP, is also very important. And here, 1,088 US dollar per EWS, economically weaker sector housing, is been provided. And there are also some bylaws that for which project this thing will be given. And the BLC, which is the beneficiary-led construction, that is also very important character of the system what Government of India has taken. Now, what are the affordable rental housing? This is a very interesting schemes which has been taken up by the government. All the unused houses, those are taken and those are given into rents. And the rents are also very affordable. So there are 7-fold benefit of these affordable rental housing complexes. The decent living environment, which is very close to the workplace, that is available. And the sustained supply of workforce, that is also become available to the productivity of the industries. The economically productive use of the government-funded vacant houses. And the fourth is encourage private public entities to efficiently utilize their own available vacant land for development of affordable rental housing. And the people, new investment, to propel the new investment opportunity and to promote the entrepreneurship in the rental housing scheme. The next I will explain a project which is very close to my heart, and that is been designed and which is also been executed by an architect in Mumbai, architect Sami Padora. This is called Udan, and this is a low-cost mass housing project in Mumbai for the families that serve the privileged classes of the city, a home for under wraps. Considering the intact condition of the city, this project is exemplifying the new lessons of architecture for affordable low-cost housing. And it is a prefabricated structure where it has been considered each panel is 3.6 meter by 5.9 meters and 3.6 meter by 8.9 meters only. And you will be astonished to know that this ground plus 4-storied structure was built within 21 days. That's the kind of speed that can have been achieved for this kind of system. And this architect has done a marvelous job, and this kind of project is now getting popular in the western part of our country. Now I will just touch upon some of the projects which, Space, my firm, and fortunately I'm having my partner architect Malay Ghosh is also with me here. Malay, thank you so much for coming here. So both of us are working in India, in eastern part of our country for the last more than 30 years. And we have almost completed this project. This is total built up area is 250 7,000 square meter, and the number of dwelling units are 4,269 units. This project, we had initially started with a different kind of approach for construction, but now we are going for a standard system of the frame structure construction. But in India, the different kind of construction strategies which is happening, that is the system shuttering. Use of system shuttering is becoming very, very popular. In many of the projects, the aluminum shuttering which is been procured, though the initial cost for that it is little bit more, but if the repetition projects are more than 50, then it becomes at par with the normal construction. And if it is more, then obviously it will be much cheaper. And there the structural system is also different, and it's a load-bearing concrete walls. And within 2 weeks, one entire floor becomes complete. So the fast is the pace. And that probably calls for to achieve the requirement of 96,000 residential unit per day, what this world wants. The next project, which is also completed, and here obviously the architect has got the freedom to play with the residential units, where each and every residential unit has got the 3-side openness, and that project has become so popular that within record time, the entire project has been sold out, and they have gone for the second phase of this. This is also a very successful project of ours. The next slide I will just show what is the kind of social housing or the affordable housing, what we are doing in the last almost 20 years. I'm not going into the details, but I can show you that the demand for this affordable segment is enormous. If we can hit the ground with the proper pricing, and if we can complete the project with the limited time, then I think the buyers are not the problem. The next, this is also I have shown you. This is another project. Now, if we can achieve, this kind of housing targets, I think it will help a lot to attain the sustainable goals of the United Nations. I think there are 6 goals which are directly related to this affordable housing. The goal number 3 is the good health and the well-being. This ensures the healthy lives and this promote the well-being for all at all ages. The goal number 6, you have already mentioned there, it is the clean water and sanitation. The goal number 11, the sustainable cities and the communities. Make cities and the human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Goal number 13, climate action. Madam Kimberley was talking about that, and which is the call of the hours. And each and every one of us has to be attentive on that. Goal number 15, life on land. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainable managed forest, combat desertification, and halt and reserve the land degradation and halt the biodiversity loss. I think these are the things we can achieve, and for that we need to have the new dimension and the new approach, new design concepts, which can only be done by the architects and the other designers. And that should change the world, and that should change Africa as well. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.